Did you know that for the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger was not originally planned to play the Terminator, but instead Kyle Reese? The bodybuilder-turned-actor had made something of a name for himself, and when Orion Pictures executive Mike Medavoy met the actor at a party, he sent him the script for consideration. James Cameron, however, had envisioned Reese as a non-bulky and more sensitive man, so he was less than enthusiastic about casting a former Mr. Universe in the pivotal role. On Medavoy's insistence, Cameron went out to meet and have lunch with him anyway. He later admitted that he had planned to pick a fight with Schwarzenegger so that he could claim that the actor was impossible to work with. But, against his expectations, they got along just fine, and Schwarzenegger showed great enthusiasm about the script in general, and its dark antagonist in particular, providing tips on how this villain should behave. It was then that Cameron had a change of heart and offered Schwarzenegger the title role of the Terminator, saying that, "This movie is not about the hero, it's about the Terminator." Schwarzenegger gladly accepted, even overruling his agent who advised him against playing villains. Cameron and Schwarzenegger have been good friends ever since. Did you know for Ocean's 11, during the several takes it took to shoot the scene in which Rusty and Linus are spying on Tess as she is introduced coming down the stairs, Brad Pitt, who plays Rusty eating shrimp from a shrimp cocktail, ate 40 shrimp and ended up getting quite sick as a result of his commitment. 2. Matt Damon's part as Linus Caldwell, the pickpocket, was initially meant for Mark Wahlberg, who turned down the role in order to star in Planet of the Apes. 3. The lead cast members lived at the Bellagio during filming, each in separate 7,000-square-foot villas. 4. Bernie Mac improvised some of his lines, including, "You want me to get on the table and dance?" 5. In a deleted scene, the plot would have involved the demolition of one of the most famous casinos in Las Vegas, New York, New York. However, filmmakers decided to remove the scene out of consideration for the 9/11 attacks. The scene had to be recreated at the last minute, with a different hotel in its place. In the end, the fictitious The Xanadu Casino became the target of the demolition. 6. Steven Soderbergh said that the film was an opportunity to give audiences pleasure from beginning to end. Did you know that for Good Will Hunting, Mel Gibson was originally the director, and when Matt Damon and Ben Affleck met with Mel Gibson, Braveheart had just come out. But they hadn't seen Braveheart, and Harvey Weinstein encouraged them to lie. So the first thing they said was, "We just want to tell you how much we loved Braveheart." 2. Before Robin Williams, Ben Affleck mentioned that he and Matt Damon wrote the part of Sean with Morgan Freeman or Robert De Niro in mind, and he and Damon would imitate their voices when reviewing the dialogue in the script. 3. After Matt Damon and Ben Affleck sold their script to Castle Rock Entertainment, it was printed in Daily Variety that they were going to get $600,000 for it. They had no credit at the time, so they used a copy of the Daily Variety and rented a house that was $3,000 a month. 4. Many years after the fact, Ben Affleck admitted to having had concerns after the film's success that he would just be regarded as Matt Damon's stupid friend. 5. The script was originally developed by Castle Rock Entertainment, but they didn't know what to do with it, so Kevin Smith from Clerks took the script to Miramax, which became their highest-grossing film. Damon credited Smith as instrumental in the movie being made, as other studios were not showing interest. Did you know that for The Notebook, Ryan Gosling prepared for his role by living in Charleston, South Carolina before filming began? For 2 months, he rode the Ashley River every morning and built furniture during the day. He even built the kitchen table featured in the movie. 2. According to Nick Cassavetes, Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams did not get along at first, and Gosling tried to have McAdams replaced. To improve the relationship between the leads, director Nick Cassavetes staged an intervention by bringing them into a room where they could air all the grievances they had with each other and work something out. They soon patched up their differences, enough to become a real-life couple for some time. 3. The scene where Noah drives up and crashes into the gate of Allie's summer manor was a fluke. They ruined a perfectly good gate, but they managed to get a great shot. 4. Nick Cassavetes wanted someone unknown and not handsome to portray Noah. Therefore, he cast Ryan Gosling in the role. 5. The second love scene with Noah and Allie was originally longer and more explicit. It had to be edited in order for the film to keep a PG-13 rating. 5. George Clooney revealed in an interview that this movie was supposed to be made several years earlier with himself as the star. Did you know that for The Hangover, Jack Black turned down the role of Alan, and Jonah Hill, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Thomas Hayden Church were considered for the role before it was substantially rewritten during development? Paul Rudd turned down the role of Phil. 2. On the DVD commentary, Zach Galifianakis gave an explanation as to why Alan is not allowed to be within 200 feet of an elementary school. He innocently tried to play with some children, which of course looked suspicious to some parents. It was all just a misunderstanding. 3. By depicting and celebrating Las Vegas as the ultimate guy's getaway, the film had a major impact on Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. To this day, guests continue to quote to Caesar's staff 2 lines from the film's check-in scene. Did Caesar live here? And, do you know if the hotel is pager-friendly? 4. During the scene where Phil, Stu, and Alan meet Chow in the desert, you can see their car pulling up in the reflection of Chow's sunglasses. This is a tribute to the scene in Casino, 1995, where Nicky Santoro, Joe Pesci, meets Sam Rothstein, Robert De Niro, in the desert, and you see the reflection of Santoro's car in Rothstein's sunglasses. Did you know that for Jaws, a crazy coincidence occurred several decades after the film's release? Lee Fierro walked into a seafood restaurant and noticed an Alex Kintner sandwich on the menu. She commented that she had played his mother many years ago. Jeffrey Voorhees, owner of the restaurant, ran out to meet her. He had played her son, and they hadn't seen each other since the original movie shoot. 2. When composer John Williams originally played the score for director Steven Spielberg, we all know today, and Spielberg laughed and said, "That's funny, John, really, but what did you really have in mind for the theme of Jaws?" Spielberg later stated that without Williams' score, the movie would only have been half as successful, and according to Williams, it jump-started his career. 3. According to director Steven Spielberg, the prop arm looked too fake in the scene where Chrissy's remains are discovered, so instead, they buried a female crew member in the sand, with only her arm exposed. 4. Director Steven Spielberg said that when he first read the novel, he found himself rooting for the shark, because the human characters were so unlikable. 5. The Bruce in Finding Nemo pays homage to the Bruce in Jaws. Did you know that for Top Gun Maverick, Tom Cruise was actually approached about a Top Gun sequel in 1990 while promoting Born on the 4th of July? But at the time, Cruise said that it would be irresponsible to make a sequel. It wasn't until 2010 when producer Jerry Bruckheimer and the director of the original film, Tony Scott, had enough of a compelling sequel story in order to get Cruise to officially say yes. Although Cruise and ultimately Val Kilmer were interested in participating, the sequel was put in jeopardy when Scott sadly took his own life in 2012. It took a number of years to develop enough of a compelling story for a sequel to materialize. 2. Tom Cruise has the strange habit of having someone or something named Bob in most of his movies for the past 20 years or so. 3. Director Joseph Kosinski deliberately didn't tell his cast members when he planned to shoot the shirtless beach football scene. This annoyed many of the actors because they had to maintain their exercise regimes throughout the entire production, as the scene ended up being one of the last to be filmed. When it was shot, they went to celebrate afterwards, but Tom Cruise wasn't satisfied, so they had to plan a reshoot a few days later. Did you know that for Wolf of Wall Street, the initial cut of the film ran approximately 4 hours? Paramount originally intended to release the 4-hour director's cut on DVD and Blu-ray, but changed its mind and stayed with the 3-hour theatrical release version. 2. In the airplane bachelor party scene, actress Maria De Angelis, who played one of the hired women, said that the original actress paired with Leonardo DiCaprio had to be replaced because she was moving on him too enthusiastically and realistically, saying she definitely wasn't acting. 3. The scene where Jonah Hill eats a goldfish was filmed with a real goldfish with animal handlers on set. He was allowed to keep it in his mouth for 3 seconds, but obviously not allowed to swallow it or eat it due to animal cruelty laws. 4. According to Martin Scorsese, the scene where Jordan returns home under the influence to address Donnie, the island in the middle of the kitchen was originally a hindrance that couldn't be removed since it was filmed in a house, not a set. He would have preferred it not to have been there, but it ended up working well in the scene since Jordan was unable to move properly, being under the influence, and prevented him from getting to Donnie, adding to the physical humor.